Today I wanted to take a look at the 2004 film Final Cut. It is definitely a very unique and interesting film. It somehow just kind of has a timeless feel to it, even though you know the film is set in the future, although we don't know exactly which period in the future it's set, which is actually very interesting. The film itself, actually, the main theme is memories. So in this film we have Robin Williams, who is playing a cutter, which is basically a person who specializes in, I guess you could say, pulling a person's memories or extracting a person's memories, forming them into either a short type film or more along the lines of like a 1 to 2 hour feature film. This is actually considered a common practice within this universe, which is basically enabled by an implant which is called a Zoe implant. So how this is done is the implant is somehow inserted into the fetus before it's actually born. I'm not sure exactly how this is done. It's never discussed. It's basically just kind of an implant in the eye, records everything from their perspective or point of view. It is basically the cutter's job to, I guess you could say, take the higher points in this person's life and kind of make a film of it, which I guess in this world they refer to it as a rememory, which is I guess their version of a like a memorial. So of course for cutters, they actually live by 3 basic rules, which are they cannot sell the Zoe footage. Cutters also cannot have a Zoe implant, and lastly they cannot cut footage from other lives, I guess in order to complete a rememory or give someone a better life than they actually did. So I guess it's just they're trying to be as true as possible, or to a degree, to this person's life. So in this film we have Robin Williams playing the lead role, a cutter by the name of Alan. He, to a very extreme degree, seems kind of detached, distant. It is implied very early in the film that one of the defining moments of his life was a family trip that he was taking. He went off and played with a little boy, and they were playing in somewhat of an empty warehouse, and due to an accident, the young boy that Alan was playing with falls to his death. Alan flees the scene, leaves the town with his family, and just never speaks of the incident. So he's obviously very heavy with guilt. He has been carrying this burden around with him for years, and I think this is also what enables him as a cutter to specialize in the lives of working with controversial public figures, is the fact that a lot of people consider him to be very forgiving. I think to a degree he's actually trying to, I guess, find penance for what he's done. He wants to be forgiven. He wants what he did to be forgotten. So he takes the lives of all of these despicable people and he puts together fantastic rememories, obviously only remembering the good that they ever did, obviously bringing to light their best qualities and making them seem like very suitable members in society. Later in the film that Alan describes his job or his line of work as being somewhat of a sin eater. And this goes perfectly in line with what he's doing. Basically what a sin eater does is, it's usually a person who's a social outcast who is called over to the home of a deceased person or a dying person. They eat a ritual type meal, and this is meant to absolve the person of their sins so that they can actually go into the afterworld free of their burdens. Many cultures throughout history have had a version of a sin eater, and honestly the only modern day comparison I can think of is probably for people who practice Catholicism, getting the last rite. They're basically being absolved of what they've done. All of these elements tie very heavily into the film. They form very greatly the personality that Alan has taken on as an adult. Throughout the film we also catch glimpses of a protest group who feels that the I guess the voyeuristic device is immoral. People shouldn't have their every single movement, I guess, under surveillance. People should be free to live their own lives and not live carefully thinking what will other people think of them, like who they actually are once they've passed on and this footage is being viewed. The man leading this protest group is actually a former cutter who goes by the name of Fletcher. He was a former co-worker of Alan, and he is extremely interested in Alan's current project. The rememory that Alan is currently working on was a very controversial figure, and this group wants that footage as a way of not only just bringing down this public figure and showing what a total piece of trash he was. Ironically, by way of the current subject that Alan is working on, he actually happens to catch a glimpse of the man who was the little boy that Alan thought he had left for dead. So now this kind of brings about this, I guess you could say, type of a closure for Alan. He's trying to figure out what happened to this person, trying to find relief from his guilt. Unfortunately, this person has passed away, and while Alan has broken into a facility trying to find out if this person had Zoe footage of their own, Alan discovers that his parents had actually gotten a Zoe implant for him, so by accident Alan discovers that he is disqualified for his line of work. This is actually very curious to me, because shouldn't there be some sort of a screening process in which potential cutters would be either they would have their records searched or some sort of a retinal scan or something so that they can determine if this person actually does have a Zoe implant. So we're in this undetermined future which has this amazing technology, yet they lack the ability to determine whether or not someone is disqualified, which that's slightly mind-boggling to me. So of course when Alan goes off to get somewhat of a tattoo which is meant to disable the Zoe implant, he pretty much just loses his cover. It comes to Fletcher's attention that he has an implant, and it isn't long before Alan himself is in hot water. Something which I found very interesting about this film, though, is that it's definitely very dark subject matter. It's very thought-provoking subject matter, but usually in a film like this you see a lot of dark, drab colors. You know, everything's just very gloomy, but this film actually features a lot of warm colors. It's very welcoming to look at, which I think is an interesting twist there. Another thing which I found interesting is the fact that Pink Floyd actually has an album which is called The Final Cut. A lot of the subject matter on this album features tragic loss, memories, and there also happens to be a character in this album which is featured by the name of Fletcher. So I don't know if this was done by design. This information is still very much in speculation, so there isn't any information out there, to my knowledge, confirming whether or not this was done for that specific reason. Another scene which had caught my interest was one of the ending scenes in which Alan is being chased through a cemetery. If you pay close attention, none of the gravestones actually have dates on them. I'm assuming this was done to keep the film's timeless feel. It's also just kind of very ironic in the sense that the film features a lot of themes of memories and remembrance, yet the stones have no actual memory markings on themselves other than footage from Zoe implants from people who actually had them. I honestly really like this film. I think it's very interesting subject matter. It's also just excellent during this period. I believe it was in the late 90s and early 2000s that Robin Williams actually started doing darker film roles. He had done some here and there throughout his career, but I think it's just he kind of settled into an era of I guess you could say flexing his acting muscle, and he does these roles extremely well. He's extremely convincing. Never in this film do you think to yourself, hey, this is Robin Williams. It's just he embodies the character so well, even though he's an extremely reserved, I guess you could say a very reclusive man in this film. The Alan character I'm referring to. It's extremely well acted. It's a great cast. I find it very interesting subject matter. It's not really something that I run across too much in modern day films. So definitely to a degree a fresh breath of air. But that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. I will talk to you later.